In this video, I will show you 100 classical music pieces. If you know all of them, you're a classical music expert. If you don't know them, it's time to get to know them. Johann Sebastian Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor, one of the most famous organ pieces ever written, known for its dramatic opening and amazing fugue. Johann Sebastian Bach Brandenburg Concerto No. 5, the most famous Baroque concerto ever written, featuring a solo trio of flute, violin and harpsichord. Johann Sebastian Bach, the Well-Tempered Clavier, a set of preludes and fugues in all 24 major and minor keys, demonstrating the possibilities of the recently adopted well-tempered tuning system. It's a milestone in keyboard literature and it showcases Bach's genius in composition. Johann Sebastian Bach, St. John Passion. It tells the story of the final days of Jesus Christ as described in the Gospel of John, beginning with his arrest in the Garden of Gethsemane and ending with his crucifixion and burial. Antonio Vivaldi, The Four Seasons, a set of 4 violin concertos, each representing a different season. Vivaldi uses vivid musical imagery to paint scenes like spring, thunderstorms or icy winters. Johann Sebastian Bach, St. Matthew Passion. It presents the narrative of Christ's Passion through a rich interplay of arias, chorals and recitatives, with the evangelist narrating the events. Johann Sebastian Bach Christmas Oratorio. Composed in 1734, this work consists of 6 cantatas intended for performance during the Christmas season. It narrates the story of Jesus Christ's birth with joyful choruses and expressive arias, capturing the festive spirit and spiritual significance of Christmas. Georg Friedrich Händel, Messias. This work has become a staple of choral societies worldwide, especially during the Christmas season. Johann Sebastian Bach, Mass in B minor, a monumental work that blends profound spirituality with complex musical structures. This Mass is considered one of the greatest choral compositions in Western music. Johann Sebastian Bach, The Art of the Fugue. 14 fugues and 4 canons based on a single theme. It showcases Bach's absolute mastery of counterpoint and remains a monumental work in the study of the fugue. Bach was very religious and he was composing so much music, Mama Emanuel would probably recommend him to
get alive! Get alive!
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart Piano Sonata No. 11, famous for its final movement, the Rondo alla Turca, featured very often in film, series and TV. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, The Marriage of Figaro. Premiered in 1786, this opera buffa is one of Mozart's most celebrated works, known for its brilliant blend of comedy and social commentary. The story follows the clever servants Figaro and Susanna as they navigate and outwit the schemes of their employer Count Almaviva, touching on themes of love, fidelity and class tensions. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Eine kleine Nachtmusik. A serenade for strings that has become one of Mozart's most popular works of all time. Classical elegance in its absolute best. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart Symphony No. 39 in E-flat, major. A traditional classical symphony with beautiful melodies. The clarinets give the symphony a nicely warm atmosphere. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart Symphony No. 40 in G minor, one of only 2 symphonies Mozart wrote in a minor key. A few weeks back I listened to the piece played by an organist in church. I would say this symphony really displays the joy of life. It's deep, it's complex, but at the same time it's playful and somehow joyful and happy. So everything you would expect from a symphony, probably my favorite Mozart symphony. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart Symphony No. 41 in C major. Mozart's final symphony, nicknamed Jupiter for its majestic character. The finale is famous for its masterful use of counterpoint. You have to imagine it's not just a fugue, it's a fugue for orchestra with transposing instruments, different clefs. It's a nightmare to read, super difficult. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart Requiem Mass in D minor. Left unfinished at Mozart's death, this powerful symphony delves into themes of mortality and redemption. The famous Dies Irae and Lacrimosa are not just used in film and TV, but they are also known and beloved across the world. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, The Magic Flute. Seeking wisdom and enlightenment, this is what the opera is about. Famous arias like the Queen of the Night's Coloratura make it one of the most beloved and most played operas of all time. Joseph Haydn, The Creation. An oratorio depicting the biblical story of creation. It's celebrated for its vivid musical imagery and innovative orchestration. Ludwig van Beethoven Piano Sonata No. 8 Pathétique. A dramatic work that foreshadows romantic expression. Its emotional depth and structural innovation mark a departure from traditional sonata forms. Ludwig van Beethoven, Piano Sonata No. 14, Moonlight. Because of the internet, probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous, Beethoven sonata. With the slow first movement, Beethoven defies conventional sonata structure. Sonatas usually start with a fast movement, giving this sonata a completely different feeling. Also interesting is the second movement, a waltz in D-flat major. Not too far from the original key, C minor. 4 sharps to 5 flats. Ludwig van Beethoven Symphony No. 3 Eroica. Originally dedicated to Napoleon Bonaparte, the Eroica Symphony marks a revolutionary step in Beethoven's compositional style towards the Romantic era. Ludwig van Beethoven Piano Sonata No. 21 Waldstein. An amazing sonata and a great example for Beethoven's heroic middle period. Ludwig van Beethoven Piano Sonata No. 23 Appassionata. I once heard the symphony live from Jeffen Bronfman. That was dark. Funny enough, the concert was in a very small hall. Around 40 to 50 people were there, which is quite crazy if you think about it. He probably got like 20k for this one concert. The day before, I think he played in New York, he told us. The day after, he had a concert at the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam. And in the middle, Homburg, not Hamburg. Homburg, a small city in the Saarland. Ludwig van Beethoven Symphony No. 5. Probably the most famous 4-note motive ever composed. The whole symphony is just one big part and there's just so much drive from the very first note until the very last one. Maybe you do believe, yeah, Beethoven 5th Symphony, it's just super famous, everyone knows it, but it's not just super famous, it's also one of the greatest music pieces ever composed, so it deserves to be famous. Ludwig van Beethoven Symphony No. 6 Pastorale. A programmatic symphony that tells different scenes from nature and rural life. For example, a countryside and a thunderstorm. Probably my favorite Beethoven symphony and one of the earliest examples of music telling specific story, aka programmatic music. Ludwig van Beethoven Symphony No. 7. The second movement, Allegretto, is particularly famous for its haunting melody and has been widely used in film and media. Generally speaking, Wagner described the symphony as the apotheosis of dance, meaning the pinnacle, the perfect example for dance music. Franz Schubert's symphony number, it's either 7 or 8, people are not really sure about the numbering, but it's called Unfinished. Comprising only 2 movements, this symphony is used in the famous children's TV series The Smurfs as a leitmotif for the evil character Gargamel. Besides that, it's an amazing symphony showcasing Schubert's genius in writing melodies. Ludwig van Beethoven, Symphony No. 9 in D minor. Beethoven's final symphony is monumental for incorporating vocal solists and a choir in the final movement. Something that has never been done before, thus completely changing the frame of what a symphony can be. Beethoven's Ninth is often considered the pinnacle of music, the highest good ever composed. Felix Mendelssohn Bartholdy, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Perfectly capturing the atmosphere of a fairy tale, this piece is highly underrated. Mendelssohn composed the overture when he was just 17 years old. That is pretty incredible. Hector Berlioz' Symphonie Fantastique. Probably the first real programmatic symphony, mixing up the boundaries of what later was to be known as symphonic poem. Symphonie Fantastique is one of my favorite symphonies of all time. I love it. The music describes an artist's opium-induced visions, including the famous March to the Scaffold and Dream of the Witch's Sabbath. Frédéric Chopin, Ballade No. 1 in G minor. A masterpiece for piano solo, ending in one of the most famous codas of all time. The end is triumphant, fast, energetic, truly amazing. Felix Mendelssohn Bartholdy, Symphony No. 2, Lobgesang. Technically speaking, Mendelssohn's last symphony. The title, Hymn of Praise, is program. Worship to God, biblical texts about light, praise and faith, a mix out of symphony and cantata, a must-hear for every religious person. Frédéric Chopin, Ballade No. 4 in F minor. Composed in 1842, Chopin's fourth ballad is widely regarded as one of his greatest masterpieces, and one of the most challenging works in the piano repertoire. The beginning is very intimate, and it gets me every single time I listen to it. Frédéric Chopin, Piano Sonata No. 3. I listened to it, played by Christian Zimmermann in Luxembourg. Intimate, deep, reflecting, it brought me closer to God, an incredible sonata. Robert Schumann, Symphony No. 3, Rheinische. An amazing symphony starting with a beautiful fourth movement in E-flat minor. The symphony was inspired by the landscapes and culture of the Rhineland. Richard Wagner, Lohengrin. Famous for its grail motif, the overture starts nearly just with high strings in a very high register, giving it this shiny, silvery, atmospheric sound color. Giuseppe Verdi, Otello. A typical plot for an opera. Otello, a Moorish general, is manipulated into believing that his wife was unfaithful, consumed by jealousy, who ultimately kills her just to find out that she did not cheat on him. In the end, Otello kills himself out of despair. Franz Liszt Piano Sonata in B minor. It took me quite long to enjoy this sonata. I don't know exactly why, but nowadays it's one of my favorite piano pieces of all time. The recording of Christian Zimmermann is just insanely good. People say that he recorded it in total 72 times to create this final recording in the end. It's just perfect. I listened to Liszt B minor sonata from Igor Levit in Salzburg. Also was fantastic. A truly amazing piece. Giuseppe Verdi, La Traviata. The opera tells the tragic love story between Violetta, a courtesan, and Alfredo, a young nobleman, whose love is ultimately doomed by societal pressures and Violetta's illness. Richard Wagner, Tristan und Isolde. An opera that revolutionized harmony with its chromaticism. The Tristan chord is probably the most famous chord, but also the most controversial chord ever composed. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out this video right here or watch it after this video, link in the description. Johann Strauss, The Blue Danube. Every year again on the 1st January, this beautiful piece of music gets played during the New Year's concert of the Vienna Philharmonic. It is one of the most elegant waltzes ever composed and an absolute fan's favorite. Johannes Brahms, A German Requiem. The one work that always gets referenced when people talk about breaking rules of composing. You may have heard of not writing parallel fifth. Brahms did it very prominently at the beginning of his German Requiem. Anton Bruckner, Symphony No. 4 in E-flat major, in one word, epic. Petri Smetana, Ma Vlast. A cycle of 6 symphonic poems celebrating Czech history and landscapes. It includes the Moldau, an extremely famous piece depicting the river's journey. Edvard Grieg, Peregrine Suite No. 1. Orchestral pieces derived from Grieg's music for Ibsen's play. There are two famous parts that everyone knows and loves, Morning Mood and In the Hall of the Mountain King. Johannes Brahms, Symphony No. 1 in C minor. Often called Beethoven's 10th, this symphony combines classical structure with romantic expression. It took Brahms over 14 years to write the whole piece, from first draft to finished product. Richard Wagner, Der Ring des Nibelungen. Basically a 16-hour-long opera featuring 4 other 4-hour-long operas. Das Rheingold, Die Walküre, Siegfried and Götterdämmerung. Norse mythology, themes of power, love and betrayal with complex leitmotifs. This is what the opera is about. Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Swan Lake. The ballet tells the tragic love story of Princess Odette, who is transformed into a swan by an evil sorcerer's curse, and Prince Siegfried, who swears to break the spell. Swan Lake is probably one of the greatest ballets ever composed, at least if we're just considering the music. Richard Wagner, Parsifal. Based on the legend of the Holy Grail, Parsifal is known for its ethereal music, innovative use of leitmotifs, and harmonic language that pushes the boundaries of tonality. Anton Bruckner's Symphony No. 7. The theme starting the symphony is probably one of the most heartbreaking and beautiful melodies ever composed. The beginning of the fourth movement is just so energetic, it's so much joy listening to it. I love the symphony, probably my favorite Bruckner symphony. Johannes Brahms' Symphony No. 4 in E minor. If you still believe that Brahms was a simple composer with not that complicated music, you should listen to the 4th Symphony. It's so complicated for a classical music piece, there are so many offbeats. Every phrase, melody, whatever you want to call this fits perfectly with each other. His mastery of counterpoint is off the charts, and you do even sometimes lose track of where the first beat is in the bar. So no, Brahms wasn't too classical. Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Symphony No. 5 in E minor. One motive through 4 movements and rich full orchestra sounds, this is what makes the symphony so amazing. Traditional romantic harmony, one big piece that is fully self-contained, an absolute brilliant symphony. Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, Scheherazade. A symphonic suite inspired by 1001 Nights, showcasing exotic melodies and vivid orchestration. Antonin Dvorak's Symphony No. 8. The music feels like there's water behind the dam, there's just so much positive pressure, so much positive energy. Add a little bohemian folk music, that's Dvorak 8. I love the symphony, it's not worse than Dvorak's 9th one at all. Anton Bruckner, Symphony No. 8 in C minor. If you like big, fat brass sounds, you should listen to the 4th movement. This would be the first piece that came to my mind. Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, The Nutcracker. Not the suite, the whole ballet. My favorite music piece of all time. The setting is during Christmas, the atmosphere is magic. The essence of the piece feels like a childlike wonder, a fairy tale becoming real life. Truly perfect. Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Symphony No. 6, Pathétique. Shortly before he died, Tchaikovsky wrote his last symphony. The music feels like wrestling with life, trying to grab a last breath of air before death. Tchaikovsky's 6th symphony is one of the most painful pieces to listen to. The 4 movements so different from each other, truly an incredible symphony. Antonin Dvorak's Symphony No. 9. Composed during his time in America, this symphony integrates Native American and African American influences. There's not much else to say, one of the only perfect symphonies ever written. Engelbert Humperdinck, Hansel and Gretel. My favorite opera, beautiful late romantic music, a family-friendly plot, no degenerate behavior like in so many operas, Christmas vibes. This makes it the perfect piece to go listen to during winter. I always like to tell the story of how I got to know Hansel and Gretel. My teacher told me after finishing The Magic Flute that I should learn Hansel and Gretel next, but I thought, Engelbert Humperdinck, I don't know this guy, probably gonna be boring opera, but I had to learn it, so I just went with it. Started with the overture and I realized very quick, it's amazing. The overture was like brilliant. Then the next number, again, I was like so amazed because I didn't expect that. It was just, again, so brilliant. Every piece just kept getting better and better, so the whole opera is just perfect. Truly a perfect opera. Claude Debussy, Prelude à l'après-midi d'un faune. Composed in 1894, the symphonic poem is considered a turning point in music history, marking the beginning of modern music. Debussy's use of lush harmonies and ambiguous tonality creates a dreamlike atmosphere, perfectly capturing the essence of Stéphane Mallarmé's poem. The prelude starts with a C sharp in the flutes alone. C sharp is one of those notes that does not sound good on any flute. Debussy really didn't care at all. Gustav Mahler, Symphony No. 2, Resurrection. Mahler's most beloved symphony, it has an epic ending. Similar to Beethoven's ninth one, it uses singers and a choir, a monumental piece of music. Puccini, La Bohème. The first opera of Puccini that I learned, I do love it. Though not having a happy ending, it has so beautiful melodies and such interesting harmonies. Truly amazing. Gustav Mahler, Symphony No. 3 in D minor. Originally, Mahler had a program for each of the movements, describing the atmosphere of the music. Those 6 titles are Pan Awakens, Summer Marches In, What the Flowers in the Meadow Tell Me, What the Animals in the Forest Tell Me, What the Angels Tell Me, and What Love Tells Me. Giacomo Puccini, Tosca. It is a dramatic opera set in Rome during the Napoleonic Wars. It tells the story of Floria Tosca, a passionate and famous singer, her lover Mario Cavaradossi, and the corrupt chief of police Baron Scarpia. Scarpia desires Tosca and manipulates her by imprisoning Cavaradossi, forcing her to choose between her lover's life and her honor. Sergei Rachmaninoff, Piano Concerto No. 2. I love the third movement, it's so playful, there's just so much joy in the beginning. If you want to compare two very different recordings, I recommend checking out the one from Anna Fedorova and Christian Zimmermann. Zimmermann speeds through the music, barely using the right pedal, while Fedorova plays it way more legato. Very interesting how different two pianists can play the same piece, the same underlying notes. Gustav Mahler, Symphony No. 5. A monumental work, big and triumphant, but also loving and tender. Nuance everywhere. If John Williams would have lived 100 years earlier, he would have written the exact same symphony. If you want to listen to Mahler recordings by yourself, I highly recommend the ones with the Lucerne Festival Orchestra and Claudio Abbado. In my opinion, these are the best Mahler recordings. Gustav Mahler, Kindertotenlieder, or in English, song on the death of children. Sadly, the piece became reality for Mahler. His own daughter died when she was just 4 years old in 1907. God bless her. Gustav Mahler, Symphony No. 6. I love the first movement. I think it's one of the best movements Mahler has written. The huge interval jumps make it very intense. Generally speaking, this symphony paves the way into the more modern harmonic language, later to be seen in his 9th Symphony or the 20th Century, for example. Gustav Mahler, Symphony No. 7 in E minor. My favorite Mahler symphony. Interesting is the use of the tenor horn that was influenced by Mahler's origin, Bohemia. The beginning of the 5th movement with this subito piano after a few minutes, it's also just truly incredible and so energetic. Richard Strauss' Salome. Controversial for its intense theme and advanced harmonic language, Salome tells the story of Salome falling in love with John the Baptist. After being rejected, she demands his head as a reward for performing the Dance of the Seven Veils. The plot is kind of sick, but the music is great. I would not watch this opera with children, it's not meant for children. Claude Debussy, La Mer, a typical example of Impressionism. The music is more vague, it describes an ocean, La Mer. There's less structure compared to the classical period and the use of harmonies did change a lot. Pentatonic scales out of 5 notes, for example, were pretty common at that time. Sergei Rachmaninoff, Symphony No. 2 in E minor. It was composed after a period of self-doubt following the poor reception of his first symphony, and its success helped to restore his confidence as a composer, making it one of his most popular works. Maurice Ravel, Gaspard de la Nuit. My favorite piano piece, 3 different movements, 3 different scenes. Innovative textures and rich harmonies, everything that Maurice Ravel has to offer in one piece. The first movement Ondine depicts a seductive water nymph. The second movement Le Gibet portrays a grim gallows scene at dusk. And the third movement Scarborough represents a mischievous night goblin. Alban Berg, 7 early songs. Although I'm not the greatest fan of the atonal movement because of this fact that you cannot create a dissonance between the voice and an instrument, the 7 early songs from Berg do sound amazing. Gustav Mahler, Symphony No. 9 in D major. I really do like the first movement. It's complex, feels dangerous, Mahler at his best. Sergei Rachmaninoff, Piano Concerto No. 3. My favorite piano concerto. It's fast, has beautiful melodies. The themes throughout the piece do sound similar, so it's self-contained. I recommend the recording of Jeffen Bronfman. It's crazy how clearly you can hear every single note. Igor Stravinsky, The Firebird. His breakthrough ballet from 1910 blends Russian folklore with innovative orchestration. The Firebird established Stravinsky as a leading composer and is noted for its vibrant colors and dynamic contrasts. My favorite Stravinsky ballet. Maurice Ravel, Ma Mère Loire. Originally composed in 1910 as a piano duet for children, Ma Mère Loire is a suite based on classic fairy tales by authors like Charles Perrault. The 5 movements include, for example, Conversations of Beauty and the Beast and The Fairy Garden. Ravel later orchestrated the suite and expanded it into a full ballet in 1912. Igor Stravinsky, Petrushka. It tells the story of a puppet brought to life. The music is known for its rhythmic complexity and use of bitonality, cementing Stravinsky's reputation as an innovator. Though complex, I do believe that, because of its playful nature, it's a great piece for children to listen to. Maurice Ravel, Valse Noble et Sentimentale. I conducted this piece in my final exam in a music university, a great piece combining the elegance of a waltz with subtle dissonances. Like so many pieces in Ravel's oeuvre, it has previously been a piano piece that was later orchestrated by himself. Maurice Ravel, Daphnis et Chloé. This is one of my favorite music pieces of all time, probably in the top 10. The first movement of the second suite portrays a sunrise. It's just so beautiful. If you don't know Daphnis et Chloé, you should better start listening to it. Igor Stravinsky, The Rite of Spring. Premiered in 1913, this ballet caused a riot due to its avant-garde music and choreography. Stravinsky's use of complex rhythms, dissonances, and unconventional structures revolutionized classical music and had a profound influence on future composers. Alexander Zemlinsky, Maeterlinck Lieder. Somehow I feel like the first movement does sound a little Egyptian, probably because of the harmony and the 2 piccolos being used at the beginning. I sang this once myself. It's not easy to sing, but it's a great piece. Richard Strauss, Alpine Symphony. A monumental tone poem that musically depicts the experience of climbing an alpine mountain from dawn to dusk. Strauss employs a massive orchestra to create vivid soundscapes of nature, pushing the boundaries of Romantic era music into the modern period. Gustav Holst, The Planets. This orchestral suite portrays the astrological character of each planet. Movements like Mars, the bringer of war, and Jupiter, the bringer of jollity, are particularly famous. Erich Wolfgang Korngold, Die Tote Stadt. Not super famous, but very much loved by most professional musicians. I don't know the whole opera, but the beginning definitely gives you the vibe of the Star Wars main theme. It's shiny, big and triumphant. John Williams has definitely taken note of Korngold and used the world he created with his music for his own compositions. If you want to learn more about that, I made a whole video on John Williams taking inspiration from other composers. You can check it out right here or link down in the description so you can check it out after this video. Modest Mussorgsky and Maurice Ravel, Pictures at an Exhibition. Originally, the piece was composed in 1874 by Modest Mussorgsky as a suite of piano pieces. Pictures at an Exhibition, inspired by the artworks of his late friend Victor Hartmann. In 1922, Maurice Ravel orchestrated the suite, bringing each movement to life with his masterful use of orchestral colors and textures. Giacomo Puccini, Turandot. Set in ancient China, the story revolves around the cold princess Turandot, who poses 3 riddles to her suitors, executing those who fail to answer correctly. The opera is famous for its exotic orchestration and its powerful tenor aria, Nessun Dorma. Bela Bartok, The Miraculous Mandarin, a pantomime ballet telling a dark and grotesque tale. Bartok's score is intense and dissonant, using complex rhythms and orchestration to create a sense of unease and tension. Sergei Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet, a ballet bringing Shakespeare's tragedy to life. The Dance of the Knights, a true fan's favorite. Anton Webern, Richard K.A.6. In 1935, Anton Webern orchestrated Johann Sebastian Bach's Richard K.A.6 from the musical Offering. Webern's arrangement is notable for its innovative use of Klangfarbe melody, tone color melody, where he assigns different instruments to individual notes within one melodic line. His technique highlights the intricate counterpoint of Bach's original composition while combining it with modern 20th century sound color. I'm not the greatest fan of the Second Viennese school, but this piece is amazing. It is basically Bach with a modern orchestration. Webern didn't touch the harmonies. Dmitri Shostakovich, Symphony No. 5. You can really hear both world wars in his music. It's haunting. I read something funny about the premiere. During the never-ending applause, the conductor held the score over his head for more than half an hour and waved it back and forth to indicate that the applause was solely for Shostakovich. Rachmaninoff, Symphonic Dances. Energetic rhythms and hauntingly beautiful melodies. It can make any person on earth cry. Always when I listen to the piece, it reminds me of the things in life that I regret, things that I would like to have done differently, and it makes me want to spend more time with people that I love. Paul Hindemith, Symphonic Metamorphosis. It's a work based on themes from Carl Maria von Weber's music, transforming them into a modern orchestral composition. Hindemith reinterprets Weber's melodies with counterpoint, 20th century harmonies, orchestration, and a modern sound color. Benjamin Britten, Peter Grimes. Also one of those pieces that professional musicians seem to love that no one else knows. I personally just know a bit of the C interludes from Peter Grimes, but they do remind me of Star Wars, so they're amazing. Richard Strauss' Four Last Songs. The first one of those is probably my favorite classical song. It has dark parts but also bright parts, it's super versatile, and there are a lot of suspensions in the music, very typical for Strauss, an amazing piece.
Maria, I've just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me.
Leonard Bernstein, West Side Story. Combining classical music, jazz and Latin, Bernstein did establish himself not just as a fantastic conductor, but as a fantastic composer as well. The music perfectly sets the tone of a modern adaptation of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet in the 1950s in New York. John Williams' Star Wars. Although more considered film music, Star Wars is definitely classical music and in my opinion one of the greatest. John Williams took inspiration from Ravel, Korngold, Holst and Stravinsky. Star Wars is basically a mix out of these four. Although most people prefer Star Wars, my favorite film score is Harry Potter. I like the dark, ominous, impressionistic atmosphere, and the celesta gives it such a nice sound color. Absolutely beautiful. I'm 100% convinced that both movies Star Wars and Harry Potter wouldn't be as successful as they are nowadays without the great music. Howard Shore, The Lord of the Rings. Similar to what I've said about the other two film scores, The Lord of the Rings wouldn't be as epic without the great music. If I had to put it into a music period, it would probably be the middle to late romantic period. The orchestration is traditionally romantic, the harmonies and the melodies as well. You do know now all important classical music pieces, but it's also important to know all the important classical composers. That's why I made this video right here in which I share some valuable information on each important composer. Please go check it out right now. Thanks for watching and we see each other in the next one.